And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all doing? Having a good week so far? Tomorrow's Friday, so the weekend will be starting very soon for those of you looking forward to it. Today is in fact Thursday, the 7th of February 2013, and we are here to review episode 13 of Arrow, titled Betrayal. Features Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, and played by Manu Bennett. I'll get to him in a moment, but the real big centre point of this episode was pretty much Moira Queen. Again, I'll get onto her in a moment, but not going to reveal too much about her, what happened basically. But Oliver decides to speak to his mother regarding the book that Felicity gave him in last week's episode, Vertigo. She says that she got it off Walter because Walter found it in their house. So now obviously Walter's missing, so try and put the pieces together. But Oliver, being Oliver, loves his mother too much and doesn't believe that his mother would actually do anything bad, and genuinely believes that she had no idea who the names were in the book. It was more, I found it more suspicious when she actually threw the book into the fire. So it's like signals flaring, but not for Oliver. Diggle at the same time obviously felt, look, Oliver, I know she's your mother, but do you not just find it a little bit odd that she burnt the book? She says she doesn't know the names. It's just convenient that Walter is missing as Felicity has handed you this book. Hello. But he's obviously not buying it at all. On the other side of that, a character by the name of I've got to get this name right. He's played by David Anders. He plays a character who's just been released from prison, Einheit's prison that is, and he decides to, wants to decide to appoint himself leader of the Triad and as well of the Bertinelli clan, because if you remember what happened to Frank Bertinelli, his daughter Helena, all that sort of stuff, and then the leader of the Triad as well, that one as well. So pretty much all had the Huntress running after them. So David Anders' character is seen as putting himself at the forefront of leading these two particular groups. In order to do that, he's got to earn their respect, and the only way to earn their respect is to take down a big guy, and obviously that's where Arrow comes in, or the Hood, as they are calling him. Also on the other side of that, you've got Quentin Lance and his daughter. I actually didn't like what Quentin did, using Laurel as bait to capture the Hood. I do think that as a father, that's probably the worst thing anyone can ever do to their child, because you're putting that child's life at risk. You're trying to chase someone that you think is a bad guy, but everybody else sees as a hero, and you think he's implicating your job in some way, which is understandable. But at the same time, you use your child in that sort of manner, you're not going to expect them to just bend backwards and say, that's okay, Dad, you can use me as bait, I'm more than happy for you to put me in harm's way, kind of thing. No. And the reaction that Laurel gives to her father is perfectly understandable. A woman in her position doesn't want to be thrown right in the deep end like that. I mean, she can look after herself. I mean, she proves it in the episode. She can take care of herself, as we see in Betrayal. But it just, for me, I just felt like Quentin should not have done that. Shouldn't have bugged the phone, and shouldn't have used his daughter in that way. And he felt the wrath of Laurel after that. So anyway, what else was I going to say? So Diggle, obviously, and Moira. Diggle decides to take it upon himself to spy on Moira, get some information, gather some intel, find out what she's up to. So he decides to be her limo driver for a few days, which is very interesting, and it makes Moira think that her regular driver, has never taken a day off in like 6 years. Okay. So suddenly Diggle decides to step in conveniently, and again it's all to finding out a bit more about Moira, what she's really up to, all that sort of stuff. Thea's only in this episode for probably about 30 seconds, so we're okay on that one. It's pretty much Thea, Queen, 3. Okay. What else is there? So anyway, flashback. I think this is probably one of the best flashbacks I've seen so far this season. We meet Slade Wilson, as I say, he's played by Manu Bennett from Spartacus, and it's very interesting how the relationship between him and Oliver unfolds, and revelations as well of Slade, Yao Fei, just everything. Almost you kind of get an idea as to where we're going to go in terms of the flashback, and exactly how does Slade, Yao Fei, Oliver, Deathstroke, how they all connected in some sense. And yeah, it is, as I say, it's pretty much revealed in this episode how Yao Fei and Slade and Deathstroke are connected. But it just got my mind thinking. I was just sitting there thinking that this is very interesting. I know this occurred 5 years before Oliver returns back to Starling City, but it's just like exactly what actually happened in those 5 years that he was there. Here's Slade Wilson, here's Yao Fei, and then you start to really understand what Oliver has to go through in order to become who he is now. And even Oliver himself had a revelation when he found the Deathstroke mask, whilst being interrogated as such by Slade. But then it turns out that there's a bit more to the Deathstroke mask than Oliver thinking that Slade was the one that tortured him. Well, he says it wasn't him, but again, like I say, it is very interesting. So anyway, further on into that, the ending was just a shocker. It was described as, if it was a mid-season cliffhanger, it would have been the best cliffhanger ever. It could have been an end-of-season cliffhanger. It still would have been an awesome cliffhanger. Why didn't they use it for a mid-season cliffhanger is what I'm saying. It really was interesting. Very shocking. I honestly didn't see it coming, because I just didn't, basically. Everything leading up to that moment, you never really have crossed it. It wouldn't have crossed your mind. And even if it did, you would have thought, nah, that wouldn't have happened. There's no way that's going to happen. Really? As if. But yeah, it did. And if you've watched next week's promo for what's next week's one? The Odyssey. Well, it really does get tasty, is all I'm going to say. What I will say about next week's episode is that Felicity Smoke will be more involved than she's ever been. That's all I'm going to say there. So there you go. But overall, better than last week's episode, Vertigo, which was very underwhelming for the most part. But again, revelations, as I say, with Slade Wilson, Yao Fei, Moira Queen being chased by Diggle without realising, obviously Laurel and her father having trust issues now, and Laurel, in fact, Quentin actually now has a mole within his police department. He doesn't know who, but tonight's Betrayal pretty much leads him to believe that someone in his department was feeding information to the bad guy in this episode, played by David Anders. So yeah, he now has that problem to face. So obviously his daughter no longer trusts him, but now he's got a mole in his department. So two things he's got to deal with, and pretty much hopefully he can get something sorted as soon as possible. But yeah, like I say, brilliant episode, solid performance all the way around, and I really cannot wait till next week's episode. I think it's going to be very, very interesting, especially to see where we're going to carry on from where we left off at the end of Betrayal. So the Odyssey looks like it's going to be wow, interesting. So yeah, there we go. That's it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and of course, as always, I shall see you all next Wednesday. No, sorry. Oh God, sometimes I should do blooper videos for this sort of thing. Maybe I should, but no, I won't. But anyway, yes, see you all next Thursday. Bye.